It's week 17. We don't know who the hell is playing. We're gonna go head to head. What's on the line?
I kind of like the eating something, maybe hot, spicy. You know, I kind of want to
Eating something hot and spicy.
Okay. All right, I got.
Look who's excited now.
No, I'm not going to be excited if I lose. I'll tell you that. But the one chip challenge, I better not lose. I'll tell you that because I don't want to do this. But
oh my God, really?
That's a
the
fun.
Hottest chip.
Yeah, look, yeah, it's like a chip comes in a package and it's hot. It's
like you have to eat the whole chip,
bro. $25.
Oh my God!
Better not lose.
I'm looking at these people. They're like fish out of water, gasping for air.
Oh my God!
We're one of us is gonna die, and I got to eat the world's hottest potato chip. Not very excited about this whatsoever.
I'm excited.
You do have to do the whole chip now. It's not just one bite.
There's a whole process to this, guys. It is Pepto, it is antacid, it is potatoes and rice. Start chugging milk, eat the chip, die, drink more, and puke. I heard it's called a gut bomb. That's the key to not dying.
Wednesday night hoops. We have a 10-game slate. There's a ton of news that already broke. I'm sure we're going to get some more as we go on here. But man, like just looking at this slate, it is there's a lot of different ways you can go in cash games and in tournaments. We will break it all down throughout the show. As always, I'm joined by my two boys, Big T and Title. Big T, I'm going to throw it to you first. How's it going over there, bud?
Ready to watch Holden eat this chip tonight. I'm excited. I don't know what the show, like, Title, you can talk more about it, but what's the deal with this? Like, all you guys are going on the show, like the old dudes even, are they allowed to stay up that late to go on the show? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean,
give us the breakdown. So just so everyone knows, there's we have a few podcasts, few shows. Title and our boy Rubio had a bet with Holden. Holden apparently was the loser of the bet. And Title, give us all the information on this.
Yeah, so we do a podcast, Rubio, myself, and Holden, the Young Guys podcast every Wednesday. It drops on Thursdays. The Old Man's Pod, Uncle T, G Ryzen, and Holden record on Tuesdays. It drops on Wednesdays throughout the NFL season. It's really fun. We have a lot of fun on there, talk about all the games. And we were having some fun a couple weeks ago. I think it was week 17 or week 16 when Derrick Henry had a monster game, Marvin Jones, Jonathan Taylor. It was that week. And we decided that we were going to do a 3-man on DraftKings. First play, a little $5 3-man. The kicker was last place. We had to do a punishment that was going to be pretty bad. And Holden, I think in the video, was like he wanted pain. He wanted it to be bad. So he asked for it, even though he knew he was up against two guys that like playing DFS. So he knew he was at a disadvantage. He said that, but we said the one chip challenge. And today's the day. He finally came in. The chip's like $30 or something too.
Oh, wow.
You can't even find it anywhere except online. He said it was sold out at a lot of places. So he took a month to he dove in. He got it. He ordered it. He's standing up to his bet. But today's the day at night. 9. We're all going to be on YouTube talking about it, watching the basketball game, sweating it out, talking a little Super Bowl and stuff too. It's fun, and we'll see what Holden does and how he reacts, because it's going to be painful for sure if you haven't seen it, but it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, so based on his tweet and conversations, he's planning for this. Like, he has things like that he's eating throughout the day to ease the pain. So he's done some research on this
ahead of time. What helped?
Yeah, it had. Well, I mean, he tweeted out he has like 4 different things that he's doing before to like coat his stomach potentially. I don't know. I mean, but he's done his research. Like he's in there grinding this one out for sure. He's trying to limit the pain, limit the damage.
What if he doesn't get it down? Like, what happens to him?
Title.
Sorry, Mike. I'm making sure my connections. I mean, it's in and out, but my Ethernet's plugged in. But
But
yeah,
after I talked about your setup and your connection, it's going down on you.
no, I think it's around. The Ethernet's all plugged in, so it's just spotty around. You said if he doesn't finish, I mean,
Yeah,
Yes,
what if
he
he
can't
doesn't
complete
get that
it.
chip down?
no, he has to right away. He's gonna put it all down. He's gonna make sure that it's all the way down before anything happens. So
Is
I
there
think
right
that's
away.
the strategy. That'd be my strategy, to touch as little tongue as possible. You got to just get it down the holster.
Yeah.
like Big T in the
Cut that
sheets.
thing
He
down.
doesn't want to mess around with that tongue action. He wants to get straight to the pipe fin, right?
Straight to it. No tongue.
Yeah,
Now,
he
is
said
there-
he's preparing with the things like 2 hours in advance. I think he is to coat his stomach and do all that. Like you said, he's done, like you said, all of his research because he's really scared, as anyone would be. But he'll get it down, and people are gonna have fun watching tonight. Let's get a nice crowd in there cheering him on.
Yeah. Is there any certain not limitations, but is there a certain chip size that we're looking for? Does it have to be a certain length and diameter, or what are the deals on that?
Yeah, it comes in. It's so the one chip challenge. It's a Pacquiao challenge, so it's the same chip for everyone. It's a tortilla chip, so it's a pretty
Okay.
good size. It's a pretty good size, and it's coated with a bunch of different peppers. I think there's a Reaper peppers in it, and you can see the dust. From what I've heard, it even smells like hell. So we'll see how it goes. But he said he can't be touching your eyes, can't be doing any of that. It's painful. Shaquille O'Neal was on TNT. I don't know if you guys saw it. He tried it, said he wouldn't make a face, but he said don't try it at home. So we'll see what Holden does.
Well, one of our members, one of our coordinators, Holden, member of the RPS family, is trying it tonight, and it's going to be entertaining. 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll definitely be tuning in. You guys all should tune in. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm looking forward to it. Stuff like that is just great content. So, I mean, how many guys are coming on the stream? Is it just the three of you or more?
G Ryzen, Uncle T, myself, Rubio, and then Holden. So it's going to be us four, as I know right now. We'll see, and then everyone in chat's going to be cheering along. They're going to be a part of it because Holden said over 95 F-bombs. That's what he said. So we'll see which one. Don't have your
I think
kids
the
along.
under, he's not going to be able to talk with his mouth burning.
Yeah, put the kids to bed. Put the kids
Yep.
to bed and then tune in. It should be a good time. Anything else that Tony, do you want to touch on the NASCAR package before we hop into the NBA slate, or pass for now?
Yeah, I mean, we got the best NASCAR team in the business, and things start up this week. So
Yeah.
bunch of stuff going on NASCAR wise. Daytona, the big race next week. Hopefully this time I don't call the trucks the cars or whatever I did last year. But we picked a lot of NASCAR. We got Coop, Matty Ice, Mikey, everyone else. Best team in the business starting up this week. Can't wait.
Yeah, and I will
start
say, okay,
NASCAR.
when the Run Pure started, I mean, NASCAR was one of the first things that popped up, and we were kind of skeptical about the product and the team. We were really unsure about the DFS product as a whole, and much like PGA, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, we had some big winners out of the gate. I mean, I think the RPS community was winning more than basically any other community out there based right off our content. And like always, the one thing I love about our secondary sports that no one else does, you go to some of these other sites, PGA starts, they're going to hit you for 250. Basketball starts, they're going to hit you for 350. Some of these sites, man, their NASCAR product, they're putting it way up there. The good thing about Run Pure Sports, the best part about Run Pure Sports is you get the NASCAR package with our one monthly price. There's no add-on fees, no additional charges. Our monthly package, our weekly package, whatever you want, includes NASCAR. Every Sunday, they have some, I don't know if they're doing the Saturday stuff. We cover Xfinity. We cover all of it. We cover the trucks. Tony's the trucks expert here. We got it all. So we're looking forward to that coming up really soon. And like I said, one price fits all. We're not going to knock you up. I mean, some of these sites, some of these prices that I've seen for a freaking NASCAR package, like what some of these places are charging, absolutely insane. I mean, just absolutely insane. And honestly, it's a pretty basic sport, to be honest with you, in terms of the scoring and whatnot. It's pretty straightforward and easy to learn. So I think we got the best product out there, and we're always willing to back it up with our plays. The plays we put out there are the plays that we're going to play.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean, that's what's crazy. A lot of these sites will charge for all the sports in one even, but then NASCAR will be like way above and beyond, and it just doesn't make any sense. We're going to give you the winners for the same price. like we always do, like Hoop said. Can't wait to dive in and get some more dubs.
Yeah, and our boy Matty Ice, he's obviously involved in the NASCAR product here. You got a lot of buddies that are in there in the pits and all that stuff. So we got a lot of solid information on the way these cars are going and some tweaks that they potentially make. So a lot of good information over at Rumpier Sports, especially in that NASCAR package, which will be kicking off. I believe it's this weekend or next weekend. So yeah, that should do it. Anything else before we hop into these games?
No, I'm ready.
10 games, it's a big slate. We have a ton of news, and I was just kind of thinking about the slate before we hopped on, and this is probably one of the more, I'd say, dynamic slates that we've had. We have a ton of news on multiple teams. As always, I'm sure we're going to get more, as the show goes on. I mean, the news is pretty endless these days in the NBA, so wouldn't be shocked if we get more big news. But as it stands right now, we have a ton of guys out, a ton of injury situations to take advantage of. But before we hop in these games, I didn't mention it yet. Hit the like button. After these first couple games, we'll pick a number in terms of likes, and if we get there, you will get we'll give away a free piece of gear. Also hit the subscribe button, bottom right corner, the RPS logo with subscribe under it. Hit that, helps us to continue to bring these videos to you guys for free. All right, so the first game on the slate, we have the 76ers and Charlotte Hornets, 223.5 total. Philadelphia is favored by 7 in this game. Big news we're kind of waiting on here. And almost every game, like I said, has a piece of news that has either gone through or that we're waiting on. This is a game that we're waiting on the news, and it's Terry Rozier, whether or not he plays. If he doesn't play, LaMelo Ball will get the start. Now there's a comment from Borrega not too long ago this afternoon where he basically said, even if Rozier does play, he might not be starting. So that would mean another start for LaMelo Ball. Obviously, he didn't have the greatest game last time out as chalk, but still was good enough. He ran into foul trouble, which kind of limited his minutes. But, if he's still in the starting lineup and we can project him for about 30 minutes of playing time, he's going to be a strong play. On the 76ers side, I won't have probably any exposure to 76ers tonight. There's some really good spots on the slate, some really good value. I think really good spend ups. This is not a spot I'm going to land. So for me in this game, it's going to come down to the situation with Ball. If he's starting, I like him. If he's starting without Rozier, I like him even more. So this, we'll get this news. Obviously, it's a 7 p.m. Eastern game. I'll throw it to you first, Title. What's your take here on this game?
Yeah, I'm with you for the 76ers. There's 10-game slate. There's no need to jam any of these guys in the first game, too, since news always is popping after lock, whether we think about it or not. Yesterday, even Nasir Little wasn't the biggest news, but it changed a lot of stuff on the slate on both sides. So always looking for news. Don't need to lock yourself into plays you don't need to for the Sixers. But on Charlotte's side, Cody Zeller, I know we talked about him last time. His price is still in the mid 5K. His role is just so much bigger than what we're used to. He's getting the minutes, good affordable price. They're going to need his size against Embiid. So if he stays out of foul trouble, I think he can do well and pay off that price tag. Miles Bridges on FanDuel is only 4,200. He's getting about 30 minutes a game, a good freak athlete, 27, 28, 26 minutes. So hovering around there, and gets a big boost if Terry Rozier is out as well. So I think he's too cheap for 4,200 with good upside. And then Gordon Hayward on DraftKings is still 7,200. He's playing high 30s minutes. He has a good usage. And I think he can he's shown ceilings past 50 this year. So 7,200 is a good price tag for him.
Yeah, just a quick update from our boy Holden. So I found the tweet, and this is what he's doing prior to consuming the chip. These are the things he has laid out. Supernatural organic whole chocolate milk. He's going to drink that. It looks like another version of chocolate milk. It's Promised Land, reduced fat, midnight chocolate milk. He has Turkish coffee ice cream and vanilla bean ice cream. That sounds dangerous. Like that I don't know where he, I'm assuming he researches pretty good, but all that stuff in your belly before you might potentially puke sounds relatively dangerous to me. Any comments before we get into the next game?
I mean, if I'm ever doing the challenge, like I'm definitely not putting all that stuff in I'm just taking the chip down and I'm going to drink it up afterwards. Like I'm not doing all the preps like he's doing.
Yeah,
I'm not asking him questions. I'm just going to enjoy watching.
That's probably the best approach. Tony, what back to basketball here? Anything you like here in the 76ers Hornets game?
Yeah, I mean, if the game stays close, Embiid, is definitely going to crush. But again, it's such a good slate, tons of good plays that it's tough to lock him in. But he definitely has upside. He definitely has a floor, definitely has a ceiling. So he's in play for me. As far as the Charlotte side, I mean, Bridges, like Title said, 4,200 on FanDuel feels really good, especially with Washington out, right?
Yes. PJ Washington's out with foot injury.
Yeah.
Yep.
With Washington out, that has to give him at least a little bit of a boost. I mean, even if it adds 4 or 5 extra minutes, gives him a nice little cushion at 4,200. Even 46 on DK is nice. LaMelo, I mean, at 7K, he's starting to get, we just talked about it on the show the other day, his price. Back up to 7, between like 7 and 8K, I have a lot harder time. Unless Rozier is completely out. If he's out, that's a little bit different. He's kind of in play. But this is a lot. There's just a lot of good plays. So I don't know if you need to go there. I probably won't, no matter what happens, even if Rozier is out. But if he's in. And, I mean, I know JSU liked Hayward a little bit, his price point. I don't love it. Again, it's a big slate with lots of plays I like, so I'm not going to force anything. Bridges would be the only guy that sticks out from Charlotte. Embiid definitely in play.
Yeah, it's one of those slates where if you're kind of iffy on a guy, you really don't have to go there because there's just so many really good plays, and we're going to discuss them all here throughout the show. Next game on the slate, Pacers Bucks, massive total, 233.5. Milwaukee favored by 9, and that's come up a little bit. It was 7 earlier in the day. It's come up a couple of points in favor of the Bucks. The one piece of news we are waiting on here is Miles Turner. He's questionable. If he were to sit, I think it's a big boost for a lot of guys. Obviously, Sabonis gets a big boost, but even guys like Lamb, Holiday, McDermott would get a big increase in his role. And then on the Bucks side, they're pretty much at full strength. I think Giannis is a really, really good spend today. If I'm going to spend up on anybody, I think it will probably be him. Chris Middleton, probably more in play on FanDuel at 7.9K. But, I'm not going to go too crazy here on the Bucks just because we have some spots with some really good value, some really good mid-tier plays. So for me, on the Bucks side, it's most likely going to be just Giannis. On the Pacers side, it depends what happens here with Turner. If Turner's out, all those guys get a boost, specifically Sabonis, specifically Doug McDermott. Tony, kind of give me your breakdown of this game.
Yeah, I mean, Sabonis looks crazy cheap. I mean, especially coming off the big game, 60 ball last night, plenty of big games along the way. Milwaukee, this is where you can kind of get Milwaukee, which is surprising because – with the big bodies and the defenders they got, you would think they'd be better. But, I mean, Lopez has never been great inside at D. Sabonis just sticks off the page to me as a good play. Jeremy Lamb continues to get the job done as a floor play, especially if Turner somehow sits. And then Milwaukee, I mean, Giannis, I'm going to keep saying it. I mean, these minutes.
Yeah.
The other day, by the way, called a 30-point blowout. They beat them by 30. If I ever say to get on Milwaukee, you got to get on Milwaukee because it doesn't happen often. It's only a few spots that I like. But tonight, again, I think this game ends up pretty close. And I know it's a 9-point spread, but I think it stays close. And if it stays close, I think he gets back up 38, 39 minutes, which puts him squarely in play again for me. And, yeah, it's a tough – just like Embiid. This is an early game. And I don't know if you want to lock him in, but I have no issue with it. I think he gets you in the 60s, and he's just a good play. So with these studs like this, it's more of if they fit in your roster construction, I like it. Yeah. And, I mean, even Brogdon is just so solid against his former team that you can put him in there. I just don't – none of these guys I think you have to force them in, but if they're in, they're in.
Yeah, Title, how does the Turner news affect what you're doing with the Pacers? And then talk about your boy Giannis here.
Yeah, so Sabonis and Brogdon are already really good plays, even if Turner is in. If they're out, they're two of my favorite plays on the slate. Sabonis, he isn't going to be sneaky, especially on DraftKings. He has a good price tag at 8,300, which is about 1,000 too cheap. So he's not contrarian either way. But Brogdon, I don't think gets as much ownership at 8,100. But like Big T said, against his old team, I mean, he's got to feel disrespected at what Milwaukee gave him away for. They thought Bledsoe could do what Brogdon did, and Brogdon was so good for this team, such a good player. I think he has a massive game, and this is not just another game on the calendar for him. He's definitely waking up for this one. Good price tag on both sites. 10-game slate will get him under owned too. So he's one of my favorite tournament plays. And then Giannis is the run back. Giannis last game, I know people are going to look. I saw someone in chat how he can never get Giannis right and all that. If he plays the fourth quarter, he's getting there for sure. That's always how Giannis is. We talk about Big T called the blowout, and the script was perfect. I mean, give Big T a lot of crap when he gets plays wrong. So he got that one right. Got to give him some props there. And I wish I bet it, but I think the Pacers stay closer in this game. They're the better team than Portland is. So I think they need Giannis to score one of the highest implied totals. And I love this game. So it's hard to avoid this whole game, even though it is one of the first games on the slate. The studs, Sabonis, Brogdon, Giannis, I'm going to have a lot of interest.
Yeah, and it's a 9-point spread, but I mean the Pacers are a team when they're underdogs like this. I'm really not too afraid of the blowout. I mean they're just a team that they grind it out, and they have a lot of guys that can produce, and they're just a tough team, and I just don't see them getting blown out here. Especially you got the narrative with Brogdon, going against his old team and everything. So it's a really good game, big total. Really like the pieces here, and like I said, they'd all get a boost if Turner were to be out. All right, we got about 400.
I see Steve Anthony in the chat saying, so players don't play 100% all out unless there's a narrative. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But when there's a narrative and there's something in the back of your head, when an old team that drafted you gets rid of you for Bledsoe and you were doing good on the team and stuff, you feel disrespected. I think you take more open shots. There's definitely something in your mind that triggers something. You're playing 100%, but there's a little extra motive for sure than a random game against the Hornets 2 games before the playoffs when you're already out of the playoff contention and stuff. So
anyone that plays sports has to. I hate when people say like the narratives don't. Anyone that's played sports, you have games. Yeah, you don't think you can be a little more focused for different games? You're not the equal. These guys play a ton of games. They're not the same focused every night. I guarantee. Yeah, they might play hard once they get out there, but you have a different level of focus. I'll argue that till the end of time. I mean,
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say different sort of narratives. You get these guys on Twitter. Oh, it's his birthday. It's his mom and dad's anniversary. Like shit like that. Like, yeah, no, thank you. Like I'll throw that right out the window. But these competitive narratives where it's a team that kind of disrespected them, yeah, I'm gonna take it into account. I'm not a narrative guy. I mean, a lot of the narratives that throw out the window. But when it's a competitive narrative like this, where a guy might feel wronged, I'll take a look. And no, it's not a make or break situation. Like Title said, he likes these guys. He likes Brogdon. He likes Sabonis. Regardless, it's just a little added on piece. It's nothing, not the main piece. Add on.
And Steve Anthony, you're the man. You're always in chat, so definitely not coming at you at all. I see people say it all the time too. There's just certain matchups and certain stuff where it's a tournament play. It gets you over the hump. There's a lot of good plays, so that's what gets it over the hump for me today. That's all.
Yep. All right. We have about 400 people. Let's get to 200 likes and we'll give away a piece of gear. Hit the subscribe button as well. And we got a lot of Super Bowl content that's rolling out this week. Tony and I just recorded the Showdown video this morning, and that's part of our premium product. We had a bets and DFS show that went yesterday. A lot of stuff's going to continue to be coming out. We're going to get our playbook up and on the site by Friday with a full breakdown of the Super Bowl DFS plays for FanDuel and DraftKings. We still got the promo going. Workbench 21 gets you 25% off your first payment at Rumpier Sports. So head on over, check us out. Let's hit this next game. We got another good one. We got the Mavs. We got the Hawks, 223.5 total. Dallas favored by 1.5 in this game. And, the Dallas side, it's pretty simple for me. Most nights it's going to be Luka, it's going to be Porzingis, and that's just about it. I'm not going to really trust these secondary guys. I see Dorian Finney-Smith is popping on some projection sites. No, thank you, especially not on this slate. On the Hawk side, I think Trae Young is interesting. Better price tag on DK. He's 10-4, I believe, on FanDuel, 9.5 on DK. I like that DK price tag. Kevin Huerter, opposite. Good play on FanDuel. He's only 4.5. The 5.6 on DK, I will most likely pass on that one. Those are really the only guys I'm considering. I'm looking forward to this game, though. I mean, you get Luka, you get Trae Young. It should be an exciting back and forth. Tony, I'll go to you first on this one. What's your interest level on any of these pieces here?
Yeah. So before I get into this game, we got to address DC in the chat. He says Big T got up anytime when he played a school that had 30 instead of 25. DC, he can talk trash. DC, you got blocked on video with a dude in cargo shorts named Smith. If anyone in cargos ever blocks you, you no longer can talk about anything remotely involved playing basketball. Cargo shorts blocked you, so I don't want to hear anything else.
Don't deflect, Tony. As a valid point by DC.
The best part is, like, it's not even true. You started this narrative that, like, isn't even remotely true. Like, everyone, like, thinks it's true because of what you said, and it isn't even remotely true.
I bring it up every time too, and I'm going to continue. It's the best.
Yeah,
I know. I literally know absolutely nothing about the school district Tony played in. I'll admit it. But guess what? I'm going to continue to pound that narrative that you played a bunch
people
of
believe in it.
I'm going to pound the narrative every
DC can get in there after title. DC, get in line.
I'm going to pound the narrative that you played against 8th graders when you were a senior in high school.
Go to that next. Yeah,
I'm going to continue to talk about that. I'm going to continue.
At least on video, you don't have me getting blocked by a dude in cargos and a 2-inch vertical. That's all.
I do have video of you going scoreless against like all the overweight RG people.
Title had me getting an air ball too, and that was pretty true. And then I called him on it, and he had to backpedal a little bit.
There's gonna be a video a couple months with me waving Big T off the court for good. So that's all we're gonna need.
I can't wait.
Love it.
Just seeing your mug, I can't freaking wait.
My hair will probably be cut by then, though. I need to see straight when I'm shooting in your mouth.
Title should wear cargo shorts when he dominates Big T.
That I will never do. I'm sorry.
Man. If he wore cargos, the cargos would definitely retire me. Woo.
Have you ever had
one of those jorts? It would be just as bad.
Have you ever had one of those guys like pick up basketball that, walk onto the court and they don't have the look as a they just look like they're going to be awful and they go out there and just
smash.
It's one of my favorite things to see him pick up basketball, just some random dude. And like you said, cargo shorts and like a wife beater or something. You're like, all right, this guy can't hoop. And he goes out there and just balls out. I love seeing that.
Unless it's on you and these guys are like, wow, is this guy awful or is the other guy good?
Yeah, Tony, what Mavs Hawks? What do you got for us?
Yeah, so this game, I mean, it's an interesting spread too. You got Dallas -1, 1.5, 2. It's a good game, good spot. I think Atlanta has the better roster. You look at Dallas, like I'd rather play a lot of guys over Luka, but you got, again, a little dynamic, Luka versus Trey. They're always going to be the two compared to each other. And again, we just talked about the narrative, but you can't tell me these guys don't want to beat the other guy when they're referred to each other as the same draft. Why'd you take this guy over that guy? All this, you can't tell me they don't want to bring it for each other. So Luka has to be in play. But again, like you guys said to start this show, all these stars are in pretty good slates or pretty good spots. It's tough to decide which ones you want. Honestly, it just depends on the roster construction, but for sure, Dallas, only Luka for me. And then Atlanta side, Trey, just because of the narrative, no one's going to play Trey tonight. It's just, you can't, it's not really a great spot for him. And then you go down Horford and Cam Reddish. I like Cam Reddish a ton tonight at this price point. Both of these guys are definitely in play. Horford more on FanDuel, like you guys said, but I like both of them. And I mean, no crazy locks in this game, but I think you have to at least, like if I play Luka, I'm for sure playing Trey and vice versa. Just that's kind of how the night works. Put some of these studs together if you play it. Like if you play Giannis, I think you should play Sabonis and stuff like that. Just kind of correlate it up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's going to be, with all the value we have, you're going to be able to pick some studs to pay up for. And, this Luka-Trey pairing, I don't know how long it will be. I mean, I think a lot of people will go Giannis over Luka, and, I think it could create a nice little leverage spot here. Title, I'm going to throw it to you. What are your thoughts here on this game?
I like that call a lot. I mean, it's only a 1.5 spread. And if you expect us to stay close, you get your correlation where you always have that hidden ownership or the hidden OT ceiling where if they somehow gets to OT 1.5 spread, so it obviously could, you get that extra 5 minutes like we always talk about we're assuming Luka and Trey just absolutely went ham, and they're going to go ham in OT as well. So I like that a lot for tournaments. I expect Sabonis and Giannis to be way higher owned. Makes a ton of sense. Luka definitely is still in play in cash, though. He's only 10-8. Great matchup against the Hawks. I was listening to the announcers last game, though, and they were talking about how they think Luka looks hurt, or he just looks a little different or something.
He always looks hurt.
Yeah, he moves. Yeah, he moves at his own pace for sure. That is true. But these guys made it sound like, I mean, I haven't watched enough Luka where I can tell specifically, but something to monitor, something to look at. Porzingis is still too cheap. He's 7.5K on FanDuel, same as DraftKings. He has a 50-burger ceiling all the time, and no one on this Hawks team I don't think can stop him. Capella can't guard him on the three-point line. Collins is too small down low, so he can cause a lot of problems in this matchup too. And then you have the value like Dorian Finney-Smith. I know that's not a good play, but he's very cheap. Josh Richardson had an absolute big game last game. 4.9K, so his price came up a little, but he showed a lot of confidence and shot it a lot, so fine with that. And then Herter on FanDuel, like you said. But I think the GPP pairing, Trey and Luka, goes very underowned, and there's enough value on the slate, like you said.
Yeah, and speaking of that value, a lot of it resides in our next game here. The Rockets Thunder, 222 total. Rockets favored by 7. The reason we have that value is on the Thunder side, no SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to miss this game. George Hill already out. Leaves the Thunder with, I think, 9 or 10 bodies. I think it's 9 bodies because one of the dudes isn't playing or something. So it's either 9 or 10 bodies. On the Rockets side, no John Wall. So that's a big boost to a lot of these Rockets dudes. On the Thunder side, there's, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 guys that are in play. I mean, Theo Maladon in play, Lou Dort, Justin Jackson will likely start. I mean, they haven't really started Diallo. They continue to bring him off the bench and keep him in that role. Baisley, Horford, I think all these guys in play. And then on the Rockets side, Oladipo gets a big boost, obviously, with John Wall out. Eric Gordon gets a big boost, better priced on FanDuel. Tate, big boost, better price on FanDuel. But there's probably 8 or 9, maybe even 10 plays in this game, that 10 viable options for DFS. Title, I'll go to you first. I mean, this is going to be the spot where you see a lot of ownership, a lot of value. But like I said, there's a lot of guys in play. So there are some ways you can get a little bit different. Kind of break this one down here for us.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the most popular game on the slate, especially on DraftKings. Maladon, Diallo, and Justin Jackson stand out as the best plays on DraftKings. Justin Jackson's mid-price at 3K, and I mean, he's going to play over 20 minutes. They need him to. Anytime you can get that for 3K with as many stars on the slate like Luka, Giannis, Sabonis, Brogdon, all that, it's definitely a stars and scrubs night. If for the popular route's going to be, if you want to get different, balance builds obviously going to be very different. So that's something to keep in mind. Diallo is my favorite on OKC because I expect him to come off the bench still, and he's going to just come in and completely chuck 15, 20 times today without SGA and the other guys. So if they keep the game close, I think it's Diallo. Hard to avoid him. I like Baisley on the starting unit a lot too. 5,200 on DraftKings. He's only 5,100 on FanDuel. They're going to need him to score with the first unit a lot, so I like him. On the other side, Houston, Jashawn Tate's only 3.9K on FanDuel. Eric Gordon's only 4.9K. This game's just going to have a ton of ownership. You can make a case for pretty much anyone in this game. Tons of value in it. Just pick your spots. The one pay up I do like, I like Victor Oladipo, but Christian Wood, I think, goes overlooked again. Only 8.6K. It's at a good center position, but he has massive ceiling in this game. And he had like 35 or 36 in the first half last game. Was on a complete tear, slowed down a little bit, but I can see him having a monster game at low ownership in this game, and he gets overlooked for sure.
Yeah, we just got some news. Terry Rozier is out, so obviously a big boost to all those Hornets guys that we discussed, including LaMelo Ball, who is starting, and Miles Bridges starting too. So all those guys we talked about, big boost, obviously. Tony, kind of break down this Rockets Thunder game here. Obviously, a lot of value will come from this game, but so will some ownership. Is this chalk that you're willing to eat in tournaments?
Yeah, just to address something in the chat too. This Howard Logan said, "Big T, I was right behind you in the 40 single entry last night. Glad to see you played the guys you mentioned to us." that's why I get Hoop and I entitled too, I'm sure. That's why I get so upset when people act like we're misleading people, because literally we've done these shows now for 6-7 years. And I always play the dudes I say. And the only time it changes at all is if there's like late news and somehow I have to pivot, or I'm just way behind and I pivot. But I always play the dudes. Like, I don't know why people think we mislead, but I can promise you that we're going to play the guys that we think we should play. And I mean, sure, sometimes news changes and stuff happens, but it's not because we're misleading anybody. It's just because something changed, and that's what happens. So I hate when people say that, but I appreciate you saying that you did good last night, followed the plays. So that's good to hear. Yeah, this is my favorite game on the slate, though. OKC. I know it's chalky, but, man, I think guys like Horford's going to crush. They're going to run the offense through him. No one's going to play Horford because they're playing Maledon and Diallo and Baisley and even Dort, Justin Jackson. All those guys are going to get ownership. No one's going to play Horford, and he's shown some nice upside, actually. 49 piece not too long ago, 37, 32. And he just is a really good play tonight, especially on FanDuel. Like, no one's going to play him, and I love him. And I like all of OKC. I think they could win this game tonight. And if they win, all these guys are going to get there. Like, this could be one of those games you see 6 or 7 guys crush their price point. Yeah. And sure, they could get blown out. I mean, they don't have a ton of talent. They don't have a ton of scoring. But as always in DFS, if it happens, I'm okay. I'll move on to tomorrow and take my losses, because I'm going heavy on OKC. And by saying that, if you think the game stays close, you have to like these Houston, at least the 3, Wood, Oladipo, and Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, they just get a nice big boost with Wall out. They're going to get the usage. Their price points aren't high. All 3 of them are too cheap. Yeah, this game's going to get a ton of ownership, but I'm going to be going overweight on this whole game for sure. I want as much of this game as I can get.
The main point and the best point I think you made by far is the fact that if this game does stay close, there's just no way that 6 or 7 of these guys don't crush value. It would be impossible. If this is a close ball game and not a blowout, 20-point blowout in the fourth quarter, which is kind of that bench point marker. If it stays close, man, there is just no way that 6 of 7 of these guys don't crush value.
The most expensive dude is $6K. Like, just, if they score 100+ points,
yeah,
I mean, they're all going to crush. And I don't see a way around it. Like, guys like Diallo, how does Diallo, outside of foul trouble, like, one of these guys probably won't get there. But the problem is all the rest of them are going to get there. Even in a blowout, these guys probably get there, honestly. Horford definitely has the most risk to a blowout. Mm-hmm. But he's also, I think, the lowest owned, which gives you a little bit of a different build. I mean, this game's awesome for sure.
One of the games where you just say, take your 3X, take your 4X, maybe don't win it and move on to tomorrow, hey?
I don't see a way that – I mean, sure, there's scenario, like if they get just totally blown out, maybe you don't. But, I mean, look at these prices. They just don't need anything. I mean, even if they suck, like Diallo, if he's terrible, he's going to get you – 17 points or something. Like, that's not going to end your night. I don't know. I don't really see the downside to just going overweight.
I agree.
Totally agree. And like I said, if this game stays close, I just really like the chances of a lot of these guys getting well over their projected number. And it's going to be popular. There's no doubt about it. But in cash games, it's a spot you eat it. In tournaments, I think you eat it too, and look to get different in other ways, like we just kind of talked about, maybe pairing Luka and Trey together or whatnot. But this thought, even if they do get blown out, though, I mean, there's a good chance these guys they just don't have the bodies. I mean, these guys are going to play minutes. There's just no way around it. All right, next game, we have the Wizards. We have the Heat, 227.5 total. Miami favored by 9.5. And on the Wizards side, no Russell Westbrook and no Raul Neto, both out. Big boost to, Bradley Beal, big boost, I think, to, a guy like Ish Smith, Garrison Matthews. I think all those dudes are in play with Neto and Westbrook being out. I mean, the problem with Beal, I mean, they got the price up there. I mean, he's 9.7 on DK, over 10K on FanDuel. Makes it kind of tough, but I think Ish Smith is interesting. have a little reservations about Ish Smith. I mean, I don't really know like what his ceiling is in terms of minutes, even regardless of this situation. Maybe it's higher than I'm thinking, but they tend to not play him like a ton of minutes. So maybe upper 20s. Curious to see what you guys think on him. Not going to play any Miami Heat guys today. It is a good spot. It definitely is against this Wizards team. Seems like a somewhat likely blowout spot. The Heat getting back to full strength. I'm going to kind of be off these dudes. The prices, there's not really a price that stands out. They all seem like they're priced pretty efficiently on both sites. So it's Ish Smith. It's, maybe Beal in tournaments, and then Garrison Matthews as a value. Let's go to you first, Big T. What do you got here?
Yeah, it's Miami's an easy fade for me on this big slate. And then, Washington. I mean, they got a lot of guys, so I can see what you're saying about Ish Smith. He definitely looks good on paper. He's definitely going to hit in the projections. He falls in that price range, too, with a lot of those OKC guys where do you like a Diallo or do you like Ish Smith or whatever the comparison is. That price range is right in there with all those guys. Definitely going to pop, but I could definitely see a route where he busts as well. So he's not a lock. And then Beal, I think Beal might end up pretty low owned because of how many studs are on the slate with his price point. And he definitely has a ceiling for you, though. I mean, if he gets hot and he gets it going, he could definitely get you a massive, massive number. So I wouldn't full fade him, but he's not going to be the first guy in for me at this price point by any means. So those are the only two in the game that I have any interest in.
Title, what do you got here in this one?
Yeah, so talking on the Heat side first, like Jimmy Butler and Bam are probably going to be 3%, 4%. If you want to eat the OKC chalk and go that route, and then you go a Butler, Beal, and Brogdon with your 3 pay-ups would correlate pretty well, you're going to be very different. And if just say this game stays close, this game goes to OT randomly. I mean, the Heat have 118 implied total, so Vegas expects someone to score. Jimmy Butler's my favorite Heat, 8.4K. No one's going to touch him. And I think that's a good way in tournaments to get different, just in a good game spot that no one's going to play just because there's other good options on a 10-game slate. So I like that in tournaments. On the Washington side, Ish Smith gets the biggest boosts. Now without Westy and Neto, I think we could see his minutes get to 30 today for the first time. And if he gets 30 minutes, he's going to absolutely smash in this matchup. We've seen him. He's a good point per minute producer, seen him in the past. So I like him on both sides. Garrison Matthews is only 3.3K on DraftKings. He's a complete sharpshooter. If he gets hot, he can have 25 real points. Good pivot off of OKC chalk as well. So I like this game. I'm going to be overweight on it. And FanDuel, Rui Hachimura, only 4.7K. That price is way too cheap with his expanded role too. So I like this game a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part for me on the Heat side though is like they're pretty much at like full strength, and the prices are up there quite a bit. But it's a really good matchup, man. I mean, you can't deny a matchup with the Wizards. I mean, it's definitely a very strong one. Before we hit the next game, guys, as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Almost at that 200 to get a piece of gear. So continue to pound the like, continue to hit the subscribe so we can give you the workbench play of the day. It's the premier piece on the show. It comes at the end, but we need enough likes and we need enough subscriptions in order to give the play. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. We still have that partnership going with Monkey Knife Fight. If you head on over there and use promo code RUNPEER at checkout, you get a $50 match on your deposit. We have a Discord channel dedicated to picks and plays on Monkey Knife Fight. So get on over there, use promo code RUNPEER, head into our Discord, and we'll get some plays going. The next game is one that I don't have a ton of interest in, the Knicks, the Bulls. The only guy I really see myself making a case for here is Julius Randle, maybe. I think I prefer other spends. On the Bulls side, not really. I mean, it's just, to me, it's really not a good game. I'm not going to have much exposure to either side. To be honest, it's like a catch-up game for me. Title, are you seeing anything here that stands out?
No, I'm with you. We talked about a lot. We liked almost every game we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Got to fade some spots. 10 games, move it to 9 right away.
Tony?
Yeah, I mean, easy fade for me.
Yeah, it's just not very appealing. There's no injuries that stand out.
I was going to play anyone, it would for sure be quickly, like we always talk about, where he's a stud, man, and he's going to start. He's already been crushing, but once he gets in this role where he plays 30 plus every night, he's gonna. I said it last show. I think he'll be 8K. I do. When he starts getting those minutes, he's really good. So you can definitely play him, but I don't know if this is the right slate for it.
Yeah. Next game is somewhat challenging. We're waiting on news in this one. The Clippers, the Cavs, 219 total. Clippers favored by 9, and Drummond is questionable again. Larry Nance is out. If Drummond were to miss, it would, once again be a big boost to Jared Allen, who had a monster game. I'd feel good, rolling him out again. Darius Garland has looked really good actually lately. I'd have some interest in him and Colin Sexton. Sexton hasn't looked all that good, and honestly, Garland has taken away a lot of the ball handling responsibilities from Sexton. So I think honestly, I prefer Garland straight up over Sexton, which might be a little bit of a hot take, but I've watched these games and Garland's the guy that's kind of initiating and running this offense. So if Drummond's out, I'll probably be on Garland a little bit. On the Clippers side, it's a risky situation. They're on a back-to-back. I know Kawhi Leonard treated us well last night, had a big game. Paul George did well. But back-to-back against Cleveland, I'm probably going to be avoiding these guys. Do I think they win this game? Yes. Do I think they have the potential for the blowout? Yes. I'm going to probably be off the Clippers side just because of the back-to-back situation. But on the Cavs, we need to monitor that news. And if Drummond is indeed out, I'm going to feel really good about going right back to Jared Allen. Sexton, I'd be okay with, but Garland is a guy that I don't think will have a ton of ownership, and he's looked pretty good lately, so I'll be on him. Tony, what are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, we need to watch the news on this one for sure. Clippers, big-time letdown spot tonight off the big game last night. Now they're in Cleveland on the road. I mean, I would never play any Clippers, but if somehow one or two of these studs sit, everything opens up for this game. And all of a sudden, this value would be – so the OKC games, so they're both at 8. I was making sure they were both at 8. This is a great pivot off of OKC if one or two of these studs are out, and all of a sudden we can play a lot of these guys versus Cleveland. But we got to wait on news. Who knows? I mean, neither one of them's listed. More of a field play than anything. But if they're in, I don't like anyone. If they're out, I'll probably like almost all of them for the Clippers. And then Cleveland side, I agree. I mean, Garland's looked really good. I like Sexton too. And I mean, if Drummond plays, I think you have to have some interest in him too. He could. I mean, in a letdown spot for the Clippers, Drummond could go 20-20 easy again. They're not going to be wanting to battle his big self in there. I mean, he's going to just grab boards. It's just such a letdown spot. So if Drummond's somehow out, then, I mean, Jared Allen is almost a total lock again for me. He's going to crush. So either Drummond or Jared Allen, depending on that news, Garland and Sexton for sure. And then the Clippers, if everyone's in, then nothing for me.
Yeah, Otto Porter just ruled out. Doesn't really change much for me on that previous game. I mean, I'm just going to be off that game, to be honest, regardless. Title, what are your thoughts here on this Clippers Cavs game?
Yeah, I don't have too much interest at all. If Drummond's in, I'll have nobody. If Drummond's out, Jared Allen, we can go back to Garland, Sexton, one or two pieces. Regardless, I'm not going to have much of this game, though. With the OKC game, I like the Bucks or the other studs, Sabonis, Giannis, them, Washington and stuff. Make it an 8-game slate. That's how I'm approaching it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we got the news on Drummond. Well, this is the 8 p.m. Eastern game, so we should get it by lock time. So we'll know what to do. But obviously, those guys get a big boost. Next game, Timberwolves Spurs, 223.5 total. Spurs favored by 8, and another game with a lot of news here. LaMarcus Aldridge is out. Rudy Gay is also out. Big boost to basically every Spurs guy. I mean, DeJounte Murray gets a big boost. Lonnie Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl all get really big boosts here in this spot. I think all are in play. On the Timberwolves side, I'll be fading the Timberwolves. But on the Spurs side, man, a lot of these guys are really strong plays. I mean, DeJounte Murray at 6.4K on DK, I think is, very tough to pass up. He's 6'9" on FanDuel. Jakob Poeltl is a premier center play. He should get a good chunk of run here in a really good spot. I mean, the Timberwolves defense is really, really bad, and opposing offenses have just kind of had their way in these spots. So I think you're going to want at least a couple Spurs in your lineups tonight. Tony, I'll throw it to you first. What's your take on this game?
Man, this is like my worst fear in DFS. The Spurs in a good spot versus Minnesota because God, I feel like they never, ever, ever come through in this spot for us. I know it's just a feel thing, but man, it feels like they always let us down when they're in really easy spots. I hate them when they're favored and love them when they're a dog. The prices look good, though. DeRozan looks good. DeJounte looks good. Podol even looks good. Lonnie Walker's 3,800. He's got to get a boost with Gay out. I mean, these guys are in a really good spot for sure. It could be a blowout. It could be a lot of things. So I'm a little uneasy with it. I do think on paper it's a really good game. But, man, the Spurs scare me. They just have games where they'll randomly run Trey Lyles a big amount of minutes or Patty Mills. Like, tell me you'd be stunned if Patty Mills just came out and played like a ton of minutes tonight. Or so they just do so many random things that tilt you. But on paper, it's a great spot for them. Minnesota, D'Lo, if they do stay close, I think you have to play D'Lo with the run back. Similar to the theme of the early games. If you're playing 2 or 3 Spurs guys, definitely play D'Lo, I think. He's just so cheap. I mean, you look at his price point. What is he? He's 6,800 on DK. What is he on FanDuel? 74. I mean, I just think it's a really good play. And Jaden McDaniels, I keep bringing up, but he's played 20 minutes the last 3 games. He's 3,100 on DK. I think he's a good play too if you're running some Spurs, especially in tournaments. No one's going to play him. He's looked relatively good. I'm uneasy with this game, though. I'm nervous for some reason with this Spurs team. They scare me.
Title, what are your thoughts here on the Spurs team? I mean, it's a really good spot, really good matchup. But I get what Tony's saying. Like a lot of times with the Spurs, when it feels too good to be true, it turns out to be too good to be true. But I'm definitely going to be on some of these guys. What about you?
Yeah, I like the spot for the Spurs. And the thing is, they're going to go more overlooked than I think we think because of the OKC value and the stars and scrubs route. I like Jakob Poeltl, he's 4.6K. Lonnie Walker's 3.8K. DeJounte 6.4K. DeRozan 6.9K, who I know we talk about who hasn't been doing much, but still 6.9K in one of the best spots they're going to have all year. Someone in chat earlier was asking, like, can you make a case for fading into the OKC guys? And the thing is, on this slate, you can, because the Spurs are in good spots, because we have other places that we like. This slate just has so many good plays with so many injuries that I like the Spurs team a lot, and I think they're going to go a little more overlooked because they're not in the 3K range. They're in the higher 4K range, but they're still going to get some ownership for sure. I'm not trying to say they're 10% or less. They're good plays. Jakob Poeltl's my favorite, though.
Yeah, he should get a good amount of run. Last time in the spot, I think he picked up some fouls and kind of busted. But I think he bounces back nicely here in a really good matchup against the Timberwolves. All right, next game we have the Suns. We have the Pelicans. Total in this one is 222.5. Phoenix is favored by 3.5. And the big news in this game is Steven Adams and whether or not he plays. If he were to sit, obviously the same guys would get a boost. Zion, Brandon Ingram. Probably wouldn't go back to Hayes. He didn't look all that good, and we have a ton of other value. On the Sun side, kind of getting back to full strength on the slate with so much value. I don't really see myself going to the Suns. But on the Pelicans, if Adams is out, we can take a look at guys like Zion. We can take a look at, Brandon Ingram, even a guy like Lonzo Ball, who has been playing pretty well lately. Title, I'm going to go to you first. What do you like here in this game?
So a tournament play that I love is Chris Paul. This guy has been absolutely on a tear lately. He's playing the most confident basketball I've seen him play in a long time, commanding so much of the usage. Devin Booker's out, so nobody's going to go to Chris Paul, especially in this late game. It's another one of those balanced build plays where they're going to be very, very under-owned. It reminds me of Van Vliet yesterday. There's a lot of good plays that everyone just concentrated to with ownership, and other very good basketball players with good upside just became very low owned. So I think Chris Paul is another one of those guys tonight. It's more of an eye test play like BigT does a lot for GPPs. So I wouldn't go there in cash games. There's a lot better plays, but he's my Suns that I'm interested in. And then I can't really make a case for too many Pelicans. If Adams is out, Zion and Ingram I'm fine with, but I'm not sure we're going to get that news before lock. And there's a lot of good early games that we're going to lock some stuff in. So it's just Chris Paul that I'd plug in if I want anyone. Otherwise, it's a fade.
Got anything here, Big T?
No, I mean Booker's gonna play. I think you said Booker wasn't in. He's definitely
No, I said Booker came back last game too, and Chris Paul still
He
commanded
might
a lot.
have just Chris Paul, I agree. I said it on that earlier hoop show. Like, he's just a hooper, man. The dude is he literally might be the most underrated player of all time. Nobody gives him credit. The dude is good. He's been good forever. He's just had bad luck in the playoffs. He's got some injuries, just random things. But as far as when he's healthy and on the court, the dude is he's just a hooper. He can go off any night. I love the call in tournaments. No one's going to have him. Definitely could go off. He's tough to play. When guys are tough to play, you know they're going to be low owned, but that's what gets you to the finish line in tournaments because he's got 60-point upside. That's all you can ask for. I mean, he went for, what did he go for the one night? 70-something?
Yeah.
62?
Good.
I thought it was, back-to-back 60 balls easily could go off. So some teams you just feel like you got the hang of, and like New Orleans is just auto fade for me unless guys are out. Ingram again the other day in a chalky spot got like 32 or something.
You've been right on that.
Sometimes you catch the right wave with guys, and I feel like I've caught the wave to where sometimes you get on the other end of this though, where you keep playing them and you're like against it. This time I'm on the right wave where I keep fading him. But just when you've been fading him, you're never going to go back and play him when he doesn't get there. I mean, he's had one good game in like the last 10 or something where that's not going to get the job done at 8,100. So, I mean, if Adams is out, you can definitely play Zion. What did he go for last time? He still didn't even get there with Adams out. I mean, New Orleans is just a fade on this slate.
I'll tell you though, the one thing that's been pretty disappointing about Zion in terms of DFS, not many ceiling games. I mean, honestly, he's like, if I was going to bet on Zion's fantasy performance, regardless of the matchup, regardless of the team situation, I'd put a big chunk of money that he finishes between like 35 and 45 fantasy points. He's
Would
just
you
always
think that he would be like known as a cash guy too. It's crazy.
That's what it is. That's what it is. He's priced around 8K, and you can kind of bank on about 40 fantasy points.
He might honestly be one of the best cash players in all of basketball and one of the worst tournament plays in all of basketball.
And you would have thought complete opposite when he came into the league. And things could change, obviously, but as it stands right now,
I don't know. Not with this roster, though. Like, I don't know what even changed. The roster just isn't built for him to show that upside.
You look at those performances, and he is right in there. I mean, he is right in that range. It's wild, but
the entire season too, like
entire season,
every game.
Yep, doesn't matter who's in or out, doesn't matter the matchup. He's going to be probably between 35 and 45 fantasy points. I mean, and honestly, 45 is generous. 35 and like 43. All right, last game. It's another good one. I mean, this is a fun slate. I mean, this is a really fun slate. You had the Celtics, we had the Kings, 224 total. Kings favored by half a point, so basically a pick 'em. And on the Boston side, along with who's the show? Marcus Smart out. We're going to have Kemba Walker also out, which obviously is a big boost to these other guys, Jaylen Brown, Tatum. Tatum's priced fully, but strong potential for big outings for Brown and Tatum in this matchup against the Kings, who continue to play limited to no defense. But Boston's on a back-to-back here. And, if this was a straight-up game, no back-to-back, I think we all think Boston would probably take care of business. But back-to-back, Sacramento, they have the guys. I think this could be a really, really good game for fantasy. I mean, Sacramento obviously has the pieces that can produce for fantasy purposes. So a lot to like here in this game. It could be the late night hammer. Tony, from a tournament perspective, what are you kind of looking at here?
So this is where the news broke really good for me, because we did the bet show earlier. We were on there with Spread and JSU talking about the bet side. I kind of said I liked Sacramento a lot, and I was banking on Kemba being out. I was hoping Kemba would sit tonight on the bat. We didn't have the news that early, and it came a little later in the afternoon. But, man, another reason I wanted it to fall this way is I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum are total locks on this slate. I absolutely love them. Sacramento plays no defense, and you look at this roster, who's going to score besides them? They're going to do all of the damage. They are going to eat. I think both of them get 50+. It's kind of a similar spot last night to the Paul George Kawhi, where I was super heavy on them. I am so high on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and it's one of the reasons I'm not going to be quite as high on some of the early studs, just because I want to go here. And then if I'm playing two of these guys, I got to find some run back with Sacramento, I think. And a guy like Fox, I mean, he's been really good. He's shown upside, and I don't really know who Boston has that's going to guard him. He's way too fast for Brown and Tatum, I think. Brown's going to try to guard him, I'm sure, but, man, he could eat. And, like, Whiteside's still cheap. Harrison Barnes is always solid. This is a nice late-game hammer. I will mention, like always, I always give the preference that – or whatever the word is for that. It's the only late game, so if you get some bad news, there's nowhere to pivot. So
yeah,
be careful with it. But
hey, we got the sites to help us out, though. I mean, they're not gonna make the people pay the price. So I mean, at this point, I feel pretty good about them making the situations right. Which DraftKings kind of led the way, and kudos to them making that situation right, because it's honestly just not fair at this point to anyone. So we'll let the big wigs and all the let they can handle it, not the players. Honestly, I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you play these guys. I mean, if you say like, because I am. I mean, my main teams, I'm going to have these guys for sure. I mean, Brown and Tatum. Like, if they don't play, you have a valid gripe. I mean, you have to call or send an email to the sites or whatever and just say something if it happens. It's not going to happen anyways, but once every couple months or something anyways. But, man, I love – do you guys like these two guys as much as I do?
Yeah, I love them. I love them. I love this game. I think it's a really good one. I don't think the king side is going to be all that owned either, so I think you get some nice leverage with that, the late-night hammer. Title, what are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah,
before Title goes, hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want these workbench plays. I mean, we got 200. You guys, I mean, I said get to 200, so you guys get to 201. I mean, come on, that's even more disrespectful than not getting to freaking 200. You get to 201 and stop. I don't know, man.
We got no dislikes today. I mean,
that's a nice.
We're here watching.
There they come soon.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mentioned the dislikes, it's like, oh, you point out dislikes. You can count on about 3 or 4. But getting right over the hump and then just stopping is just, I mean,
it's very hurtful.
Yeah, it's the best word for it. Just if you want the workbench, play, if you want the dry hump play of the day, you got to hit the like button a little bit more. Title this game.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, like you guys said. I mean, if you don't have anyone in this last game, it's the only game that starts at 9 or 10 Eastern. So you are going to be plump. I mean, just go to bed if you don't have anyone in the game, because you're going down for sure. It's no one. I know the times never should matter in DFS, and they don't, but it's never a good feeling when you just see yourself plummeting down the standings with Tatum, Brown, and all them in a great spot. So I'm with Big T. The thing is, like we said, there are just so many good plays on this slate. It's going to be so much fun. If you're a one lineup person, you make sure your lineup's correlated today. Usually NBA, I don't talk about correlation too much, but it seems like these matchups, Tatum, Brown, you either want Fox or Tyrese Halliburton or Whiteside, multiple people. If you want Giannis, you're going Sabonis, you're going Brogdon, Beal, you name it. And I was a little feeling that one of these games is going to overtime today. 10-game slate, a lot of close spreads. It feels like one of those days you might need the OT game with the stars. So I love Brown. I love Tatum. And my favorite run back is actually Tyrese Halliburton, but Fox would be the other one just because Fox is playing out of his mind. Last game, he torched Bledsoe more than I've seen someone torch someone in a long time. He was having a field day. His confidence is back. So I love this game. Definitely get some pieces in it. And it's going to go under owned too because of the OKC and the other games we talked about.
Yeah. I will say one more guy too that you can be confident in a run back is Buddy Hield. He found his shot, man, about 2 weeks ago, and he's reigning now. Couldn't you see a game where these guards get it going and this is a Buddy game tonight, 6,600, and he drops a 50 piece or something. Yep. He's in consideration for the workbench. I didn't see him. He's an interesting workbench play though, because no one's going to play him.
I looked him up the last slate they were on, and I saw the same thing. And he is a guy that runs hot and cold. And honestly, early on in the season, the results were pretty bad with him, but he's a better player than that. I mean, I think we know that. And he's one of the better shooters in the league. He can definitely knock down threes. So I do like that call. I think he is a interesting play, more so in tournaments. And it's a stars and scrubs slate, so people are going to avoid his price range too, which will definitely bring down the ownership. All right.
Last game, just to polish this up, because I think I didn't even say it. That's how little I was considering him. Last game, he was 4 for 16, 39 minutes, still got 32. He still got there. And the 3 games before that, 35, 34, and 50. He's definitely my run back. I love Buddy all of a sudden. He fits that bolt, and it goes with what Title said. 2 one way, 1 or 2 the other way. Nice little build. Throw in some OKC guys or some Spurs guys and see what happens.
Yeah, all right. Somebody post something funny or catchy in the chat so I don't have to scroll all the way up to find the winner. I just don't feel like doing that at this point. So someone put something in there and you'll win some gear. All right. We have Titletown giving us the old dry hump play of the day. Who do you got for us, Title?
Malcolm Brogdon is my guy today. Probably could have guessed that. I'm all in. Bucks fan. I mean, he was my favorite Buck too. He was one of my favorite players at Virginia as well. So maybe a little bias and stuff too. Met him in person. Good dude. But this guy definitely has revenge on his mind tonight. One of the higher team totals. He's going to want to keep it up with the Bucks, make it a good game. I think Indiana even probably upsets Milwaukee today. I think him and Sabonis have their wills. So Brogdon in a price range, a lot of people aren't going to play him. That's my dry hump play of the day, if that's what we're calling it.
I like how you threw in there that you met Brogdon. That was a nice.
I had to stroke him up a little bit. I mean, get a little more confidence for my play. Got his autograph too.
Oh wow! Now we're talking.
And his Top Shot moment, if that goes a long way too. I'm fully invested in Malcolm Brogdon.
Fully invested in Brogdon, all across the board. All right, Big T, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the Big T workbench play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, it's been a fun slate. There's lots of good plays on here. To be honest, I had my play set the whole time. I was gonna play this guy. I love Buddy Hield. I wanna put him in there, but I mean, I should just do it, but I got another one. I might just do 2 because it's how much I like both of them.
Does that mean a double workbench?
Yeah, might go back to back session for once. Because my other one is a perfect workbench because it's OKC. It's none of those guys. It's Al Horford, big Al Horford. I think they run the offense through him. I think OKC is chalky, but I don't think anyone's playing Horford, and I think he's got 50-point upside. So he's going to be my official workbench just because I felt good about him the whole time and I don't want to get off it. But, I mean, Buddy Hield, if I got enough energy for round 2, Buddy Hield is definitely that guy for the backup bench.
If there's enough juice, Buddy Hield's
a little older these days. Two sessions might not come along, but Buddy Hield is right on the verge. I absolutely love him now.
All right. Title, find us someone in here. Find the gear winner. We wrap this whole thing up here. As always, guys, we have. All right, we got the winner. Cancel that. We got the winner straight from our producer. We still have that promo going. Workbench 21, 25% off your first payment at Rumpier Sports. The winner of the gear is Colin Hoffman. He said that he subscribed to our YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and give him a piece of gear. We like those subscriptions. We like the like button hits. So Colin Hoffman, you get yourself a piece of gear. Reach out to Big T or info at Rumpier Sports, and we'll get that shipped out to you. Any final thoughts, boys, on the slate? I mean, it's a really good one. Ton of plays. Any finishing points here?
It's gonna be a fun slate. You just have to have correlation. That's the most important thing on today's slate. 10 games. Take out 5, 6. If you're only playing a couple lineups, you have to eliminate like 5 games already. We talked about the ones we don't like as much. Have a path with your lineup, have a plan, make sure it's correlated, and stick with it. It's going to be a very high scoring night. It's not going to be a 250 cash line tonight. So if you lose with a 330 score later, don't come on and become one of those people complaining that, I put up 330 and lost and all that. It's going to take a lot to score. It's one of those slates, but It's going to be a lot of fun.
When that happens too. I hate when people do that.
That is brutal. The one other point I did want to make about the Al Horford call, which I think is a good one. Some of these projection sites really don't have him popping. They have all the other Thunder guys and not Horford. So I think it's really going to bring.
I don't understand why either.
I don't get it. Like he has upside and like he's been playing well. And I thought that was really weird just looking at. Maybe they adjust at some point here before lock, but
I think it's because he's center eligible, and that's probably the deepest position. And then he's the most expensive one, and you only can play 5 max or 4 max on FanDuel, and people are just going to try and go stars and scrubs and not land in that mid-tier build. That's why I think it's a really sharp call. But I do love the call. Yeah, he's going to be. I mean, he should smash in this spot, so that's why he's going to go overlooked though.
So yesterday's workbench. You guys weren't on here yesterday. So yesterday's workbench, I gave Paul George, who I knew was going to be low owned on DK. I thought he'd be owned on FanDuel because shooting guard was weak. But this dude in chat, Daniel Decker, just all over me. He was 70% in FanDuel cash. First of all, he was on the winner on FanDuel. He was on the winner on DK. So I think that's a good workbench play.
Yes.
But, I mean, the dude was 10% on DK. It is what it is. I mean, he was popular on FanDuel, but I don't play cash anyway. He was 45% in the contest that I played. So it is what it is.
I know. Most of the people I know listening, we're giving out more DraftKings workbench like caliber plays, but plays that we still like in general for ownership varies on different sites. So he was chalk on one site. You were probably saying more on DraftKings than he was 10% or even less. No one played him on DraftKings. So, he's a good play. He was on the optimal. You can't.
He ended up being the winner. So it was good either way.
We have
Landis said he was 4 point. He was unowned on DK. I mean, it is what it is.
Good call. That was a good call on D. I mean, the prices, the positions, can vary ownership between the two sites, and the Paul George thing yesterday.
I crushed on FanDuel yesterday, and I played him every team. So, it is what it is.
That's the goal. We have JSU and Holden taking you guys to lock. You got to head on over to runpuresports.com, become a member to check that out. Workbench 21 gets you 25% off your payment, but Holden, JSU crushing it up to lock. You can kind of give Holden some shit about the potato chip thing, which is at 9:00 Eastern tonight. Make sure you tune in. The hottest potato chip in the world. Apparently, Holden's going to eat it on air. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in. Check that out. For Title, for Big T, I'm Hoop. Good luck to everyone tonight in your contest.